Hi guys, welcome to the next part of Mixed Media Basics. So this is a series that I have been doing where I talk about some of the basics of mixed media and why we do this or why we do that, or we talk about certain products which are very different in market and especially confusing for beginners. Now, if you are new and this is the first video that you are watching in Mixed Media Basics series, on the right hand corner, I will link the playlist where you can check out the earlier episodes, and I'll also link the same in the description. I recommend that you check those out before you start watching this video. So this particular episode is going to be about rust effect paste. In my last video, I spoke about moss effect paste and how it is, how are these effect paste different from just chalk paints or texture paste, and how these paste combine to give you an effect. So I highly recommend guys that you check those video out before you get here so that you will have a reference to go back to, and there are some things that I talked about in that video which is I inherently understand that you have already know about it, and that is why I'm not going to repeat that in my this current video. So this rust effect paste by CrafTangles comes in a set of four where you get 60 ml per color, and there are four shades which combine to create rust effect paste. And the consistency of these paste is somewhere in between chalk paint and texture paste because they mimic both the properties. If you are a fan of mixed media and if you have already done something in mixed media, you know that there are a lot of layers when it comes to mixed media, and you would want your paste to reach all layers if you are using this to create that rust like effect. And that is why it is not as thick as a texture paste, because you want this color to reach into the nooks and crannies of all the layers of mixed media. At the same time, it is not very thin like chalk paint or any other paint, because after all you need to give it a rust like effect. Now, what do I mean by rust like effect is, if you would have seen a metal eroding in nature, or in any like uh, a shipyard, or an old cupboard or a old metal furniture, you would have seen that it creates that rust kind of an effect, that orangish, reddish, yellowish tint along with some browns in between. So that is what we are trying to mimic. Now, mixed media is all about creating lots of effects, vintage, lot of browns. Of course, it can be shabby chic as well, but predominantly, whatever, mixed media projects that you see, or most of the artists who make mixed media, it's like combining a lot of things that you consider trash, like, old metal things, old cups, etc. And then many artists like to give it a vintage art form, etc. And that is why you will see a lot of effect paste like rust effect paste, patina effect paste, moss effect paste, because these all come when your item has been lying in environment for a long time, because moss will also come when the tree has been living in humid area for a long time. Same with patina or rust. If your metal has been in subjected to environment for a lot of years, after that you see that built up of rust and patina. And these are the things that, inspire the whole mixed media process. Now, as you can see, there are four colors in Rust Effect paste. You get yellow, orange, red, and brown. And these combine beautifully one with each other to create that rust, meaning that, rusty effect is what I could say. That is very grainy effect that is created using these texture paste. So you don't need to add any additional, texture powder, sand paste, or anything. They inherently have that property. So you can use that to create that effect. Also, each and every color that you see in the paste, they the bottle has a different color and also different consistency. So you can see that yellow is very smooth, orange is medium grainy, red is again medium grainy, but again there is a texture difference between orange and red as well. So there is a difference in the graininess. And then brown, which is an extremely grainy paste. I will be putting that all down here so you can see on the flat surface like a paper that how the texture is different for all of them. And since we live in India, which is a very hot climate, and sometimes it does happen that the moisture from these pastes do evaporate. Then in that case, you can easily revive this paste if it is not completely hard. On the right hand corner, I'll link my video, which is also part of Mixed Media Basics, where I show you how to revive paste. So this is what I have just revived before, I started. I think these are also, some of them are very old bottles, some of them are new bottles, it's a combination. But yeah, normally I add a combination of water and glycerin to revive my paste. Again, bottled water, not regular water. And yeah, over here, as I said, orange and red, you can see both of them are medium grainy. However, the graininess is very different. Also, you can layer these one on top of the other. Like, in some areas, if you add brown, and on top of it, if you add red, then the effect will be completely different depending on how much red are you putting. Like if you are putting a very opaque layer of red, then the red will just become, it will either show through in its true color like the red you are seeing here, or it will show up a bit darker because the brown is below the red, for example, right? So I'm just giving you an example of how you can vary the tones of your texture paste. So what I like to do is normally I start with a black gesso whenever I am doing my rust paste, because my rust paste projects are very moody and dark. So I start off with a black gesso, coating my entire mixed media canvas with a CrafTangles charcoal gesso. And then on top of it, I start with brown. So I cover my entire layer with brown because, if let's say red, orange, or yellow, I missed some of the spots while coloring my canvas, then at least brown will show up and not black. Because I want, since whenever I'm doing a rest effect, I want to go for moody and dark colors, and that is why I do it. However, you can, do some areas brown, some areas red, some areas orange and yellow. That also works. So a lot of people do that. I like to cover mine completely with brown for the color so that, wherever if there I miss some spot, brown will show through, and for the texture. And then, what I do is in some areas, I add yellow, orange, and red, a combination. And in some areas, I add light coat of the colors, and in some areas, I add dark coat of the colors. So depending on whether I do a light coat or a dark coat, the colors below it can be seen through. So, I use them like watercolors. So wherever I put a light layer, the colors which is below will show through. If I add a lot of water and less of texture paste, the colors which is below, like let's say I put yellow, a very light wash of yellow on top of brown, then a lot of brown will show through. Now, if I'm adding a very thick coat of yellow on top of brown, then very less of brown will show through. So that is how I achieve that natural variations in tones, which adds a lot of depth to your canvas. Also, you can see how quickly these dry. It just took me 5 minutes to put all the colors down for you. And while I was putting that, you can see that, the layers have already started drying. And that is because it is a special formulation, because since you are working with layers, you want the layers to quickly dry. And that is why we have created this special formulation where it comparatively dries quicker. If you don't want it to dry quick, I would suggest, you work in an environment with an AC, and, switch off your fan so that it doesn't dry very quick. Also, don't use heat tool. Normally, I prefer it fast drying, and I normally, even I don't have patience like for 5 minutes. I normally end up using heat tool as well. So now it all depends on what kind of project you are doing, what size, etc. But you have options. So yeah, that was the small introduction to Rust Effect Paste that I wanted to show you today. I hope you enjoyed and I hope all of you are keeping safe. I will see you in my next video. Till then, please take care and be safe. And if you like my videos and are interested in more contents that are coming up, do subscribe. Bye.